Hello, Twin Lakes Academy Elementary 5th graders. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the color wheel, and then you're going to do a really fun activity where you make an assemblage color wheel. An assemblage is a work of art made by grouping found or unrelated objects, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's pop over here to the color wheel and let's examine the color wheel. Now, some of the stuff is you guys already know, but we're going to learn about it. So first of all, we have our three primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. They're called the primaries because you can't make them. They can't be made from other colors. So red, yellow, and blue are the primaries. Our secondary colors are violet, green, and orange. And I always try to think the reason that we would call them secondary is they're made by mixing the two primaries. So our secondaries, yet again, are violet, green, and orange. Now we're moving on to another group called intermediate. Sometimes they're called tertiary and sometimes they're called intermediate. These colors are the colors that go between the primary and the secondary colors. And the first part of their name is always the primary color, and the second part of their name is always a secondary color. So look, we got over here, we have red. Right next to that, we have red, orange. That's cool. Red and orange make red, orange. That makes sense. Here we are over here at yellow. We have, over here at yellow. Sorry, I got confused for a minute. Over here at yellow, we have yellow, orange, and yellow, green. So yellow, orange, and yellow, green are our intermediate colors. Over here at blue, we have blue green, which is a combination of green and blue, and blue violet, which is a combination of blue and violet. So right now what I want you to do is get a sticky note out or just a few scraps of paper. And what I want you to do is write down these 12 colors. You don't have to write down whether they are primary, intermediate, or secondary. You could if you'd like to, but just write down those 12 colors. You can even just rip off a little piece of paper, jot it down, or make a sticky note for each one. So once again, we need red, then red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, 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 violet, violet, and red, violet. And take a good look at this because you are going to be replicating this chart, but in a sculptural way. So let's go over to the living room and see what we are talking about. All right, so I picked a space on the floor to create this assemblage. However, you could make a really small assemblage if you want to. But the main thing is you're going to take those labels we made and arrange them in the circle. I've got red here, then red, orange. I've got orange. Then I have my yellow, orange. I have yellow. I then have yellow, green, green, blue, green, blue, blue, violet, violet, and red, violet. Now, the thing to remember with this as we're putting the assemblage together, we're looking for our main primary and secondary colors, and then we're looking, the intermediate or tertiary colors are kind of like those half a step colors, like half a step. For instance, with green, I have a true green, yet the yellow green items are just have a little bit of yellow in it. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Now, as you go around your house looking for objects that are those colors, if you can only find one object that is that color, that's okay. For me, I really struggled finding something in my house that was red, orange, but I saw this book on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, that's red orange, I'm going to use that. So let's look at these a little bit more in depth. What do we have here in red? We have something neat I got at Hollywood Studios. We have my son's Power Ranger toy. We have some crayons and whatnot. Over here we have a book that is red orange. And so when I've gathered up these objects, I was just kind of trying to find things that would be interesting to look at, maybe that had an interesting outline, or maybe something that would give the art some visual interest. So those are my true orange items. Over here, we're getting a little bit more yellow. It's yellow orange. Over here, we have yellow. Now, if you want to use food in your color wheel assemblage, my suggestion is ask your parents and don't lay it on the floor. If you're using food, put something underneath it. Please ask your parents before you take stuff out. So, over here we have some grapes. We have some things that would be considered more of a yellow-green. See? It's kind of half a step between the green and the yellow is where we find yellow-green. Here's some green items, little toys, a truck. Over here we have our blue greens. Now, also when you pick out an object, it doesn't have to be completely that color. I picked this doll of my daughter's, and I noticed that the tail is a blue-green, but her top and the very bottom of her tail are not. That's okay. As long as you can find something that has most of those colors, it's perfectly fine. Another option you can do is, if your parents don't mind, you can get clothes out of closets, twist them around and arrange them in certain shapes. So for blue, I have my son's shoes and a dress of mine I've twisted around. Here we are over with our blue violet. I was able to find, the only thing I could find in my house that was blue violet was a shirt. And then we're over here at violet. We have Anna and a little bowl of, a toy bowl of my daughter's. And then found a sweater that was red violet. So once you have put this together, and just do it to the best of your ability. I mean, if you can't do bunches of objects like I did, you could just take some crayons and some markers and put them around in a color wheel design. But to me, actually using unusual objects is much more interesting. I just love how the colors gently move from one to the other. That's what we get when we use all 12 of the colors in the color wheel. So it's just a beautiful representation right here. Now, once you have your color wheel made, take a picture and email it to me. Thank you.